What is up, everybody? Metal Biker Dude coming at you here. So, Brandon over at Patreon kind of gave me an idea for Twitter Tuesday, and I decided to also bring it to Patreon Thursdays. And we're not going to do them at the same time accordingly, but that was to do a different genre every week. A different genre for Patreon Thursday and a different genre for Twitter Tuesdays, and kind of keep things fresh. And I think that's a great idea. So, and I got some feedback from the patrons over at Patreon that they all bought into. So now, with that said, the first one we're going to do this week is for Patreon Thursday is a rock genre. Not a heavy metal genre, but a rock genre. In full disclosure, first of all, I promise you I've never heard this song. By the way, let me pull that up real quick. Sorry about this. Okay, let me do the results here real quick. So we got 21 Pilots, Jumpsuit, Snail Mail, Pristine, The Interrupters, She's Kerosene, and 1975, Give Yourself a Try. Now, I've never heard not only of any of these songs, I've never heard of any of these bands. So, I guess that's the good part of it. So, now, in full disclosure, following along here, the people at Patreon, most of them have not heard of any of these songs either. So, I think we're all in uncharted territory here. So, but that's always good too. But anyway, so we're gonna get into different genres going forward on Patreon Thursday and Twitter Tuesdays. That's not to say that we might not do a special thing here and there, but I think it's a great idea. It keeps things fresh, and I think everybody seems to be on board with that. So that's what we're going to do. Right on. So this is, by the way, let me pull this back up here real quick. 21 Pilots got, Jumpsuit got 12 of the votes. We only had 16 total votes, which I think is indicative of the number of people that have even heard of these bands. So anyway, so 21 Pilots, Jumpsuit won, so that's what we're going to do, man. Here we go again. Dirty got his shit together. So the bass guitar in there is thumping, obviously. It's a good intro. I like the way it kind of fades into it. And I can hear a sequencer going on there. It almost sounds like a helicopter coming in at the same time. Right on. And they got a little bit of fuzz. Fuzz is kind of like a distortion pedal, but it's a little fuzzier and not quite as distorted sounding on the bass guitar. So that's a good choice. Pressures of a new place roll my way. Jumpsuit, jumpsuit, cover me. Jumpsuit, jumpsuit, cover me. Spirits in my room, friend or foe, felt it in my youth, feel it when I'm old. Jumpsuit. So it seems to me like this jumpsuit, he's saying jumpsuit cover me. I'm guessing this is obviously some sort of metaphor, but I'm guessing what the metaphor is, um, kind of protect him from all of his surroundings, which seem to be kind of caving in on him. And then we have what seems to be a Knights of Templar horse rider here. And he's confronting his, it looks to me like he's confronting his fears.
I can't believe how much I hate pressures of a new place roll my way. Jumpsuit, cover me. Oh, jumpsuit, cover me.
Okay, I have no clue what that was supposed to be there at the end. Um, so a couple of things here, and I've told you this, guys. I've told you this before. So I haven't really listened to any new music, and that's including rock or metal or anything like that. I was stuck in the 80s and 90s and even to a certain degree some 70s stuff. And one of the things that is new to me is the look of bands. Now, we didn't get to see his whole band here. I'm assuming it's a band and not just him. But you look at him, he doesn't really look like a rock star, right? In the sense, let me rephrase that. A rock star in the sense of what a rock star used to look like. Okay. They used to be long and scraggly haired and, all tatted up and usually super skinny and, it's just what I'm accustomed to, right? So when I look at some of the newer videos of bands, it's a little hard for me to get over sometimes, but that's all part of being desensitized to things, right? When you're in foreign territory, you're going to be a little uncomfortable. So that's all that means. It's not indicative of their ability to rock out. Okay. And then the other thing that I wanted to address was how much production has come along in rock music. It used to be, and this is absolutely certain, back in the 70s, unless you were a progressive rock band like Rush or Boston, there's a number of them. A band called Yes. Unless you were from that era, you really pretty much ran on an 8-track, right? You had 8 tracks to fill in the noise, and that's what you got. They didn't mic every single drum, and they didn't have a speaker mic and an ambient mic for the box for each guitar, and it was just raw, and there was something very appealing about that. It was raw energy, and now in the digital world that we live in, you can afford to do that fairly cheaply. But also, it's like that sequencer that came in there in the beginning. there didn't used to be much or any of that type of stuff there. Unless, like I said, unless you're talking about a band like Rush or Boston, yes, Chicago. And even Chicago really didn't run any sequencers. But so it's, again, it's out of my comfort zone, but at the same time, production wise, it's got a good value to it because it has a cleaner sound, you know, which for longevity purposes is good, you know. You can tell a 70s rock band, right? You can tell an 80s metal band, especially early on, just based on the production alone, you know. So, you know, in that sense, there's some good parts to it. You know, there's also some, you know, the Ramones, Sex Pistols, they used 4 tracks. You know, that was it. 4 tracks. You had drums, bass, guitar, and vocals. That was it. And there was something cool about that, you know. But at the same time, you know, for listening pleasure, there's something to be said for, you know, having 32 tracks, maybe even 64 tracks in some cases, you know. But it's definitely different than what I'm used to. Okay. It's not to say that it's wrong. It's not to say that it's bad, that it's not good. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that it's something new to me, you know. So as I maybe listen to a little bit more of the newer rock stuff, it'll be a little more pleasing to the ears, my personal ears. With that said, it was a really good song. It was really well done. It rocked out. One other thing that I'll point out is, you know, I'm also from the genre where you had a 16-bar guitar solo. You know, really didn't hear much of that in this song. But again, it doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just different than what I'm used to. So, but I'm going to ding it. Ding, ding. We're going to get a new playlist going for new rock stuff, too. I think that's a great idea. You know, I'm branching out to hip hop and even some country. And, you know, I got a playlist going there of stuff that I listen to. And honestly, I'm really digging what I'm doing here. So, we're going to do that here too. So if you guys got any other suggestions, especially anybody watching this on YouTube, any suggestions of new stuff that you think I might dig, hit me up, man. Leave it in the comment section, all right? Metal Biker Dude, peace.
And if I catch it coming back my way, catch it coming